Welcome to WillowTalk, a special edition. Well, they're all special, but this one's a good one. Adam Peacock alongside Brad Haddin. We are on tour. We are on the road outside the confines of our usual studio, but you're sitting in this room across from the man that handed the gloves to you for Australia.
Yes, we are, and I'm very excited today. And I don't think I've ever said this to Gilly, but thank you, first and foremost, because he actually changed the way wicketkeepers played. And not many people do that generation-wise, but he raised the standard in the way I had to play, because we all realised we weren't good enough to make it to the next level after watching you. So I don't know if I should be thanking you or kicking you out the door.
You started with a thank you and it turned into kicking the door. So
I'm out before I've even spoken. Mate, that's very, very kind words. Great to be here, and been eyeing this off for a long time. We've
been eyeing you off too, actually, for a long time.
so to finally get here,
but
to finally be here, fantastic. Hads, that's lovely to hear. I've actually been sort of reflecting a little bit, knowing I was coming on here to chat with you guys, and thinking back through that period of time, because I remember that I take from those very kind words the same sentiment that I had for Heels.
Yeah.
You know, he was the one that I was aspiring to try and be like, and he was always so welcoming for me, and keen to pass on any information or knowledge, assistance, particularly once he'd finish. So, you know, the drill, anything you see, maybe a couple of catches here and there just to get into it. But obviously we overlapped a bit more, you and I, with our career.
Yep.
in a playing sense. But I always said right from the moment that I walked away from it all, and particularly, say, 12 months later, we were never going to replace Warnie. McGrath was going to be almost impossible, but the bowlers, they turn up eventually, particularly the fast bowlers. But the most seamless transition of that era was the keeping position, because you walked in. I remember standing, I hope I'm right in saying this, my memory's not faded too much, but at the Adelaide Oval, you got your first 100 against New Zealand. Yep. Yeah, and just remember being there, not in a commentary sense. I hadn't fallen into that trap at that stage. I was doing the corporate gig.
and the Adelaide Test is the one test.
We always said, we've got to get back here, so first test I got back there. And just being not surprised that you'd made that transition so smooth. From a keeping sense, it was already happening, but then to see you nail that 100 was testament to all the work you'd put in and the fun we'd had, overlapping in the manner we did, and some bloody good experiences around one-day cricket, obviously, because it was, the tests were a little bit different, the scenario, but thanks, and well done to you.
I think my greatest learnings on tour was when I didn't catch any balls. And everyone talks about Gilly's career as your batting, but to me it was your work ethic as a wicketkeeper. And I know personally, everyone talks about, you get 100 here, and I think, you see that catch that day to the spinner? Like, it's a wicket-keeping thing as well. And the time you spent on your craft, the best times I had learning was not catching a ball on tour, hitting catches to you. I did the same with Phil Emery. I went a whole year with Phil Emery and didn't catch a ball in New South Wales training. He wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
But my learnings, everyone said, how'd you go that year? I said, I've never learnt more about the game. You watch, you communicate those little moments. They're the best learnings you get on tour.
Absolutely. And away from the training track.
Yeah.
And it sounds old school, doesn't it? The whole, these sort of almost myths around the old school and the nights out, or the socialising, and well, they're not myths, they were real, but
they feel like myths.
But it can get tiresome listening to the best times were the change rooms or the nights out or whatever. But they really were part of the fabric of what made you as a player, and more so, what allowed teams and unique teams to form, and special bonds, and that that unidentifiable or the things that you can't see, the tangible, intangible things that aren't present, but you know they're around, that bind a team together, and there's just the commitment to acknowledgement of each other's success, the commitment to celebrating success, because there's some tough ones, there's some tough times where you're not celebrating, so of which you bought into that. Heels taught me. My first Ashes tour, I remember the first Test match that I was around fully, 1997, Lords, washed out draw in the end. But Jesus, Heels blew the cobwebs out that night, and he grabbed me and said, "Come on." He said, "No matter what happens in a Test match, you've got to have a blowout at the end of it. You've been there the best part of, say, 8 days. Well, different when you're on tour. You're on tour, but say you go to Sydney or Brisbane, you're there for a good over a week of high intensity, mindset, commitment. It's not. You got to have a blowout, and that's fair to say we gave it our best crack at that, didn't we? But then dust yourself off and get in ready for the next one,
which kind of makes sense now.
Segue to the tequila. I like it.
It's taken you a lot longer than I thought.
Well, I know that there now. Thank you. No,
that drool coming down your lip there.
Were you guys talking? Were you? Oh, it's just no. As Hads knows, I'm a bit of a fan of tequila, but so that's your latest venture, and you've put a lot of time and effort into it. So, we'll, off the top, before we get into some of those old stories and learnings, and I want the full detail of the phone call you made to him about the switch over.
Do you remember that?
Ringing you?
Yeah.
Say that I'm out?
Yeah. And your words were... I was actually happened to be right next to my dad at the SCG, and Gilly rings. I thought, oh, that's odd. Hello, he said, mate, your life's about to change. I'm about to retire. and I remember thinking, oh, congratulations, and thinking, shit. And I said to my dad, put it down, and he said, what's wrong? I said, oh, Gilly's retired. He said, oh, that's a good thing, is it? I said, I don't know. I don't know what's about to happen, but it was a
mid-test.
Yeah, I made my decision.
End of the test. You made the decision.
Yeah,
but
I announced it. Yeah. I announced. I, in my mind, made the decision on day one of the Test match in Adelaide when I dropped VVS Flaxman. It's been sort of well documented, or I've spoken about that. But so that night after Stumps day one back in the hotels, when I rang Mel, who was back in Perth. So that's how unplanned the whole thing was. No family or anyone were at the Test match. So I rang her and said, look, I'm done. And she went, yep, cool. And then scurried over to Adelaide. Then let Punter and the team know the next morning, but didn't announce it publicly until day 3. Stumps day 3. But my recollection is I rang Hads the morning of day 3 before I announced publicly. And that stemmed from, you mentioned Phil Emery.
Yeah.
I mean, I was understudy to him. That's why I moved from New South Wales to WA. That's why I moved clubs at Gordon Cricket Club to get away from him, to go to Northern Districts. And then
don't worry, I'll push him out at the end.
You saw him out. Thank you. He was like an Alabama tick. I couldn't get him out of the team. But, I tried, but he did. When I moved to WA, he did say, and I hope anyone listening or watching understands our love and respect for Phil Emery. He taught us so much, and he's a great mate. He said to me, okay, go, but when I finish at New South Wales, I'll let you know. Whoever knows where we're going to be or where I'm going to be, but if you want to come back, there might be an option if you want to. And he held true to that. He rang me to say, and by that stage I was fully entrenched in WA, and that's where I'd settled. But I always remember thinking, I want to make sure that when I finish in the Australian team, to let Hads know as well. Not necessarily before anyone else, but before it really went public. But just to pass that on, and it was.
What was it like for you, Hads, though, knowing for those 10 hours or so that day when you're at the SCG with the old man, that you know that unless the selectors have a completely different view of what you had and what everyone else had, that you're going to be an Australian Test player before everyone else kind of knows about it?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, you had to keep it to yourself. You couldn't. As Gilly's time, but I'll go back a couple of steps. I had to take Gilly out of the equation because I didn't actually think I'd ever get the opportunity to play for Australia. If I thought about, is Adam going to retire here? Do you think he'll go on for 2 or 3 years? And everyone's sort of saying that to you in the background. Do you think Gilly retire this year? But I was 30. So I had to make peace with myself that, you know what, I've got to be the best version of myself I can. And I know it sounds corny, but I had to put all my effort into being the best state cricketer I could be and take everyone else out of the equation. If I kept thinking about what was happening at the Australian team, I would have been rocking backwards and forwards in a corner, because the reality of if you had probably went 18 more months,
Yeah.
I reckon Payne would have played.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the right decision as well. It would have been at the time. So I had to take all that out of the equation, make sure I prepared the best I could, and if the opportunity did come, I was the obvious second choice. I wasn't worried about going on A tours or things like that. I was worried about dominating in my position. So if the call did come, Adam's done, you just walk straight in. If there was debate about someone to go in at my age, I wouldn't have got the nod.
I was very mindful of that too. I mean, as I say, I didn't plan to retire going into that Test match.
Yeah.
But there was something, when I dropped that catch, there was something that triggered in me that I realised it was time.
Yeah.
I was cutting training a bit shorter,
Yeah.
not because I hated it, because
Yeah.
I had other interests. I had family, I had commercial opportunity that I was, I got that appearance or something. But also too, you're right. I reckon if I wanted to, I feel like I probably could have stretched it another 18 months maybe. I don't regret it for 1 minute. But I wasn't completely gone.
Yeah.
But if I did go another year, 18 months, I feel that you might have been missed.
Yep.
And there was Payne or whoever else was sort of nipping around the heels there. So that gives me great satisfaction, particularly the way it played out and the way you just nailed it. That gives me great satisfaction of that transition mindset. It pleases me as much as anyone.
A lot of people in Australian cricket were obviously completely comfortable with the transition. The leader of the country, though, asked you to reconsider your decision.
He did.
So he's obviously Kevin Rudd at the time, not a Brad Haddin fan.
No, that's right.
Couldn't
he was
copy.
nervous.
Yeah.
He felt that perhaps we weren't in safe hands. But thankfully I said no to him.
Yeah. Well, so did his party, actually, because his whole party voted him out at the same time. Soon after. So his decision choices weren't that great at the time.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, with the whole craft of, you mentioned at the top, I want to be stupid not to ask about, especially for, club cricketers still want to get better, but especially younger ones as well. So how much time as a wicketkeeper are you thinking about everything? Because you do a lot during a day's play. You do more than, when you're out there, you do more than any other player who's out there, but with the possible exception of the captain who's doing things. But how do you then forget about what you've just done when you walk off and just clear your mind, as opposed to trying to read, I remember in the 14th
You retire.
day, like how much head noise is there about being a wicketkeeper?
Well, I found that the greatest challenge was putting behind you, what's just happened. It really is that simple. I remember through sort of junior cricket and under 17s, under 19s, the biggest wrestle was if you missed something or dropped one or missed a stumping, it's just forgetting about it. You cannot change it. The only delivery that matters in your entire life is the next one. Simple as that. No matter what you've done, previous one, no matter how good it was or how bad it was. It's very simple philosophy, but it's the same in any aspect of the game, isn't it? But that was my biggest challenge. Along with, too, I think, mentally for me, knowing that people, and had you alluded to it, it's amazing how many people would say how well you're keeping when you're scoring runs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They've got no idea how you keep it. But you're getting runs, so you must be good. You must be a good keeper. And I understand that, I got moved to the top of the order and in the one days, so that might have taken some shine off some of what I thought was good work I was doing with the gloves. And I missed some. I missed plenty. And gave
we
people.
all did.
Yeah, exactly. We all did. And we're all improving. The longer you're exposed to a higher level, the more you're going to improve. So how you start hopefully isn't how you finish, and hopefully you've improved in that journey as well. So, but that was the biggest battle, I think, mentally, just how you can move it away and be ready for the very next ball.
Yeah, the one thing I found interesting about wicketkeepers, we're an interesting breed. We're different, first and foremost. Like when everyone talks about Gilly, you got 100 here, my first thought is, how well did he keep to Warne? And as a keeper, they can talk about the hundreds, but if you go out to Gilly or Heels was the same, what about when the ball came out of the rough, you held your position, you took and that's the moments we remember. And that's what I actually remember about Heels and Gilly, is their craft up to the stumps. And everyone else remembers different things, but That's what we wanted to be judged on. I hated when someone said, "Oh, you're batting well," and you go, "Yeah, but what about when I took that catch or I gave that energy?" You want to be judged on how you do behind the stumps and how you bring a team together, and that's our role.
Yeah, I reckon my best day of wicket keeping was in the 5th Test at the Oval in 2001. Warnie bowled like the genius that he was. I might have got 2 dismissals. One dismissal in particular went across Alex Stewart. But I personally just remember taking, not dismissal deliveries, but just taking deliveries and going deep into my hands. Some outside leg stump into the rough, just perfect body position. It just felt right. It was heaven as a keeper, and no one, no one said a word.
Yeah, also, that's regulation.
Yeah,
with Warnie, did it get to the stage where, I don't know if he had signals or he had changed his run up subtly, the little details that no one else would know, that you knew what was coming before he delivered it, or it was purely reaction all the time with Warnie because even you didn't know what was coming?
Yeah, no signals. That's just relationship building with your bowler. Yeah. And Warnie knew as much as anyone the importance of that keeper-bowler relationship. And he had, for his entire Test career, he basically had 2 blokes, save for one Test match with Phil Emerick.
But we got rid of him.
Yeah. But we're talking about the mindset of keeping and trying to learn how to put something behind you.
Yeah.
If I missed something and then was trying to concentrate and to keep to Warnie, then at the other end you walk down there having got through. That's a highlight of my cricketing career was to keep a Shane Warne. Then at the end of that over, you go down and it's McGrath bowling, and you've got Warnie at first slip. Talking about what he got up to last night. Talk about the powers of concentration. Whew, that was a lot to deal with. Going. I reckon mentally I got to steel mine. But it was great fun, and no signals, just familiarisation. Yeah. And that's the first thing I did when I got into the Australian one-day team. Just said to Warnie, "Can you bowl 2 overs extra at the end of training?" Just to me, no batter, and just so I can literally watch your hand. And I didn't find Warnie, and this is going to sound a bit self-indulgent and maybe a bit arrogant, I didn't find him challenging to pick out of the hand at all. No. But he could bowl the same leg spinner with the most minimal change of energy, and it can spin 6 inches or a foot without any discernible, noticeable difference.
Ridiculous.
But, so... That was amazing.
Because we're sitting here recording this the day after one of the great wicketkeeping displays by any wicketkeeper anywhere. It doesn't matter what colour, what emblem they got on their chest. Alex Carey at the Gabba. So did you two sit there and watch that and go, "Oh my goodness, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen"?
I didn't even know Root got 100. I think the one thing with that, I don't know when you're watching how brave he had to be. He was up to Boland and Nessa. He didn't flinch. Technically, that ramp, the first thing you do when they ramp, you move your head away. Yeah. Your natural reaction is to get your head away. He held his position and then had the IQ to go bang and stump him at the same time. That was as good as display we've seen from an Aussie keeper for a long time. I reckon he had one of those days in India as well, to Nathan Lyon and Murphy coming out of the rough where balls were kicking, but it just seemed seamless.
Yeah, spot on. Such a shame it wasn't out that stumping because it would have been replayed forever and a day and would have been highlighted and social media would have gone off. But the fact that it wasn't out, it'll just sort of fade away. I mean, his catch, the high ball catch, where he basically, it was a hard ball get, defending off Marnus, contested mark, whatever you want to say.
Couldn't help himself.
But that is great that he did affect the dismissal because that can get replayed lots of times.
Yeah.
But, it was a day of keeping excellence, no doubt about that.
I've got a theory on that.
Yeah.
Why he went up to the stumps. It was the first day we've seen Marnus at first slip. And you talk about how enjoyable it would be to have Warne there. I reckon at times he would have thought, I reckon I can keep up to Starkey.
Yeah, a get out clause. I'm getting out of here.
So have you ever stood up to a bowler and like they've turned around at the top of the mark, all of a sudden you're up to the stumps and they've looked at you and you've gone, that's disrespectful?
Well, I did, one day, I don't know if you were on the tour in New Zealand.
The Pidge?
With Pidge.
Yeah.
So I got a stumping off McGrath. We were playing a one-dayer at Christchurch Wellington it might have been actually. And anyway, the run chase was on, and Craig McMillan, I think it was batting, and he was out of his crease, and like Kez, that's what he was doing, trying to drag him back in, but Pigeon sort of, the look on his face at the top of his mark, and I'm like, no, Pidge, there's method, a reason. Anyway, he fires one in, almost a Yorker, and I managed to cleanly take it. McMillan just overbalanced a bit, whipped him off, and that is doing that. I got a leg side stumping off Warnie on my Test debut.
Yep.
So everyone goes, oh, geez, must have been frustrating. Got to 81, you didn't get 100 on debut. I said, bullshit. I got my double century on debut, thanks. A leg side stumping off Warnie. Simple as that. That's good night. Probably should have finished there. I've got this stumping off McGrath, and then look, and Pigeon in the middle of the pitch waving his hands, going, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Because that's against my name for the rest of my life. So that's probably the most memorable one for me.
And all the other fielders have been standing around going, oh, well done.
Yeah.
And you get thinking, and you're celebrating, and no one else is enjoying the moment.
They go, well done, you did your job. You can keep it now.
Performed a miracle.
Keepers going, mate, get the water out.
What about with your batting? So both of you very attacking minded, putting it mildly, both of you. But did you find that if you didn't quite have the day you wanted with the gloves, that it fiddled with your mind when you went out of the bat, or did it actually click you into gear and go, no, I've got to make up for this?
What do you reckon, Hads? I personally, I remember Heels always talking about if one was off, the other one was on, sort of thing. But I wasn't that. I just felt more positive and happier and comfortable when things were going well. So my biggest challenge, probably not the low point. I don't want to be too melodramatic, but the toughest tour I had was 2005.
No one ever talks about that series, so that's the good thing. Everyone's kind of let it go.
The two most challenging series, 2001 India, 2005 England, and we lost both series. They're the most famous test series that we played in, and they're the only two test series that that group of players lost. But Jesus, they've been well documented. I got 100 in the first innings in India, and then got the king pair in the next bloody game, and then 1-1 in the next game. So I was gone. And 05, I was just shot to pieces, and I was keeping horribly. They had me worked out from a batting point of view, and then that filtered into my keeping. And I was.
What, your feet stopped going? Or
my day, there's one day of Test cricket, it was my lowest day, mentally, psychologically, was the day, ironically, I pouched Warnie's 600th Test wicket. But you see it, Marcus Trescothick drags one round, sort of a sweep shot, comes off his gloves, hits him in the chest, hits him in the head, goes up. I have no idea where it's going, and it, unluckily for him, fell in my gloves. Great, everyone, 600th. But in my mind, I was cooked. I dropped Michael Vaughan, and then early, next ball, Dizzy bowled him off a no ball. And then by the end of the day, Varnie's 170 not out or whatever, or maybe got out earlier, but 170. I reckon I dropped another one. Just I was cooked. And then I had to come out and bat, and I was just mentally shot. So I found if one was off, the other was a bit off, and vice versa. If it's going well, I was relaxed, I was comfortable, I was positive, and it flowed. What did you find?
No, it did affect both, but my batting was all about. I enjoyed the number 7 role and batting with Australia. I batting with the tail. I wasn't as effective with Gilly with getting big hundreds, but my role I found with the bat, all I thought about was changing momentum and being able to play a role with the tail. But you're right, it does affect your batting. If you have a bad day with the gloves, I remember my worst day ever. I don't know if you ever felt like this, was at Lords, and I felt like I was in quicksand, and it's a bad place to be as a keeper. I didn't want the ball to come to me. No, it wasn't very good. But it was one of those days where Mitch had one of those days, and I couldn't reach him down leg side, so he'd bowl wide, and they'd kept going wider and wider, and I couldn't reach them. But the umpires calling buys, and I'm going, mate, I can't. And it started to affect me mentally. and all of a sudden your technique goes, and you forget about the little things that you've trained to do. And I remember it was my worst day ever, and I'm sitting in the change room, and I heard someone say, "Who's going to do the media?" And I thought, bugger it, I'll do it. And the media liaison said, I don't know, I think it's a good idea. And I said, no, I've got to get this off my chest. I've got to get out. And I walked into the media, and everyone sort of looked at me and said, well, this is going to be fun. And they went to ask a question. I said, before you start, I said, I don't know, you're not professional athletes. I've had one of those days. I felt like I was in quicksand. I didn't want the ball to come to me. I'll fix it tomorrow. I know what I did, but I just couldn't find a way. And everyone just sat there and went, I've got no more questions. And just took everything out of the game. But I don't know if you've ever had that day where you felt like you're in quicksand and you don't want the ball to come to you.
Well, even not whether it's the quicksand or the feet, but in the UK, as you know, the wobble after it passes the bat, and it's only got to be a couple of inches or a couple of centimetres even, and then it's missing the middle of your gloves. But just over there, once the ball's going from where the stumps are through to you as keeper, it can just tail. It just gets. If that seems upright, it just wobbles, and you can be made to look very, very amateurish over there in certain conditions.
Given the last 5 minutes, should we open this?
That's how we solved a lot of things on tour. Actually,
you started to get to the tequila, and then
we dived off. We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it.
Well, what's happened to you though, Gilly? You obviously had passion for the game.
Hads does the rundown, by the way. He just goes where he wants.
I'm going wherever this goes. I need to talk about this. Where's this started? How did it start?
Started for my passion for tequila, simple as that.
Sounds like in 2005 in the middle of the year.
Well, don't worry, I had the bad tequila experience as a kid, like most of us did.
That's my first
far
thought.
Too young, but found a way back to it in my mid-20s, and then have just quietly consumed and sipped. But no, I've loved it. People say, God, why tequila? I say, why not? But I can see the expression on your face.
Straight away.
This I've taken this around to on-premise and retail and people that know good tequila, and the reception has been unbelievable. I got Buff over for during the, must have been the one dayers in Perth earlier this summer. He came over and he goes, right, I've got to try your tequila. Everyone's talking about that I'm talking about. All right, so I gave him a sip, and he just looked at him and said, excuse my language, he goes, that's shit. I said, thanks, Buffer. And he just said, it's rubbish. And okay, that's cool. You don't like tequila. I know not everybody likes tequila, but...
is this a guy that drinks 4X for fun?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
El Arquero, that means the keeper, which, in Spanish. Well, it's a loose translation. I've taken a little bit of liberty there. But and, I've just always joked about wanting to do it. And then about 2.5 years ago, Mel said, 3 years ago, she said, are you going to keep joking about it, or are you going to shut up?
Good woman.
I took that as a green light. I said, well, let's do it. So here we are, I don't want to bore the listeners or the viewers with too much detail if everyone's not into tequila, but it is a passion project. It's our 5th child. It's our favourite child at the moment. Doesn't answer back. But I just wanted to do something authentically, traditionally produced in Mexico, additive-free in this day and age. That's everyone's health conscious, but really important to me was the quality of the product. Develop a label and a brand that marries where Mexico and Australia overlap, and that was what having been over there, learn a lot about the region where it's produced, knowing our life and lifestyle here. It was around the sun, outdoors. We all are people of the sun, being outside, beaches, fiestas, barbecues. This little number here is the rested, so it's a reposado. So that's been sitting in an oak barrel for 5 months. I can see you getting very excited. You are.
Have you got the Añejo as well, the little darker one?
The Añejo's coming. So that everyone, it's an often asked question, isn't it? People say, well, why is there a clear tequila? And then how is that tequila? And that's starting to move in the colour context of whiskies and so on. That's just because it's been sitting in a barrel and draws a few notes and flavours out of that. But we've got the Blanco and Añejo, which is aged, means aged. That's coming. That's still sitting in barrel in Mexico. But geez, it's been fun. I feel like I'm at the start of my test career,
How good.
To walk in and see this on in a bottle shop or on the shelf of a great bar or on a restaurant cocktail list is a buzz for me. I feel like that's selection into the game.
Yeah.
Now it's up to us to see where the career goes, where the game goes, and where it leads you. And we're so keen to give it a push and introduce people to tequila, knowing that you can do it in other ways than just the late night shot that you're blaming the hangover. I'm not the fun sheriff. I think there's room for shots.
Well, I look like if you end up having a party, I had spent one afternoon in what's the place just over the border? I've had a mind blank. I can't even remember. It was that good an afternoon. No, in Tijuana.
Ah, right.
And the bar was pretty empty. It was a Tuesday afternoon. There was one person there with a whistle and a little big water pistol full of tequila. So every time the whistle went, you had to open your mouth and it went. Maybe something like that you can do out the front of the fourth test down at the MCG or something like that for everyone to enjoy that.
Gilly, look like you're involved with it from the ground up. The first thing, as you said, tequila, you go, Everyone has the same reaction because we all remember lip, sip, suck.
Yeah.
But your advertising campaign takes that straight off the table after 10 seconds. That was very, very clever.
Yeah, it's good fun doing that. Yeah. But just showcase, like, it was a bit tongue-in-cheek. It was an apology for all the tequila crimes of the past. Crap tequila, getting smashed on it. So it's to be savoured and enjoyed, and serve strategies around. We're pushing, highball glasses with soda, low-sugar sodas, fruit juices, really refreshing drink of the summer. That's what we see. But really it's about, I talk about this little logo we've got here. It's a sun worshipper in the middle of our little sun there. He's got his arms open saying, come into my circle. Like, let's sit around. I do this little ritual, I call it a prairie fire, where you get a little shot. And here I am saying, don't shot it. But it's a bit of I get people in, buy them one, put 3 drops of Tabasco sauce in it, because I believe that keeps COVID away. But
you didn't get COVID, did you?
No. Well, I haven't tested positive. I'm sure I've had it. But
tequila.
But get them in and talk about how just a little ritual, a little shared experience, and that's what food and beverage is, isn't it? Come together and just share an experience, connectivity. Doesn't matter what you're drinking or eating. It's just good fun. But I'm not here as a paid brand. I'm a major shareholder and founder, and it's something I'm so passionate about, and I'm just loving getting out there and sharing with people.
I can tell, like the enthusiasm that you talk about it. It's as enthusiastic as your greatest day on a cricket field. But obviously we started this chat with the retirement back in 2008. I'm just trying to remember when Kevin Rudd was Prime Minister. It wasn't for long, but it was 2008.
His own party, remember, got rid of him. Exactly. His teammates got rid of him.
So 2008. How long? I've seen you talk about how you went into commentary, and when you did it initially, you went, I'm not. How long has it taken you that long to find something outside of cricket that you're that full on chips in?
Right, yeah.
Does it take? I don't know. I've never retired from anything, but you guys have. So
I never really knew what I was going to do when I finished, but I was never bothered by that. I think I was always eyes wide open along the journey. I was fortunate to be given experience at different things. I sat on the board of Travelex, a foreign exchange company, the Australasian board, whilst I was playing. What do I know about foreign exchange? What do I know about business? But I was non-executive director through Sir Lloyd Dorfman owned Travelex, who sponsored us, our team, through that generation. The experience I gained around a boardroom, just, again, I said, why do you want me on your board? And he said, well, I've got foreign exchange specialists, I've got lawyers, I've got accountants, I've got the financial services guys there. I need someone with a completely different look, typical sort of point of view of a diverse board. He said, I want someone who can ask the dumb questions. And I said, yep. Well, I upheld my part of the bargain there. But
that's why you're here.
Hey, a lot to be said for logic. Just pure logic, and there's no such thing as a stupid question.
But all that experience along the way and forging relationships and partnerships with commercial groups. When I finished, You're right. I was afforded a chance to commentate in that first summer out. I did a Perth Test match in that first summer. and then I did a T20 game at the MCG, which was Davey's debut.
Oh, that one.
yes, yeah. He got 90.
Yeah, and I walked away from both those games going, I don't know if this is me. I didn't ever really covet going into the commentary box, and I thought, one, maybe it's a bit early. Two, I didn't feel like I added much. So I said no, and then 5 years later, Channel 10 got the Big Bash, and a guy by the name of David Barham rang me up and just said, I've got to build a team for this Big Bash. And I said, I don't reckon I'm very good at that. And I said, who are you going with? Who you got? And he said, I've got Ponting, Mark Ward, Damien Fleming. I said, yeah, I'm in. I love those blokes. I'll have a crack.
Yeah.
And that's where I found a real passion for broadcasting. And I still don't know that the actual commentary part of it is that, the expert opinion analysis excites me, but the broadcasting aspect, that the hosting, the steering the ship a bit, I really, really get excited by that.
Yeah, no, it is. It's weird. It's sitting there, getting the best out of other people. That's what I do. Like in a format like this.
Yeah, I knew about, and here we've had the mutual love fest earlier of the Wicket Keepers Union, but and I will say this with great sincerity. I really mean it. What you do is exceptional, and it's learning and watching and observing those in the trade that I still every day just sit and listen for calls the way, and just knowing that what is seems seamless as a viewer of the host, just steering it one way, bringing it back the other, getting an opinion there, listening to an answer, and
that's the key.
Fact that you do it so well across such a diverse group of sports is so admirable. So the knowledge you need to have to do it. But anyway, mate, I was reflecting on Hads' transition before coming on here. I really do.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, that means heaps. But
unbelievably good at it, mate.
You work with Howie a fair bit as well. And I take
there's a guy.
Exactly the same attitude as him, is that you're there as basically the person still on the couch, but you actually have you've been trusted with this thing to actually get the most out of what the person on the couch wants to hear from the people who have been there and done that, and sit next to Hads, even though he tries to throw me off sometimes with various
Someone's got to ask a dumb question.
But Hads and heels and things like that. Am I going to sit there and talk about my hat-trick when I was under 10s, when the ball barely landed on the pitch, or I'm going to talk about people who have played for Australia and seeing things that we don't see? Because there's plenty that happen even every day of cricket, that you see things that you haven't seen but you don't know and you want to get more out of, and this fella helps greatly to get that out, and you'd be the same as well on your coverages that you work on. So
that's so a long-winded answer to your question about finding a passion. I never, when I finished, I didn't feel, oh no, there's a void there that I've got to fill. I felt comfortable with things, and one opportunity led to another opportunity, and so on, and then all of a sudden, but that passion for broadcasting came from that initial Channel 10 stuff, and then moved into Fox. But now this has turned up. I've always been passionate about it, but to be actually doing it, and it is a huge thrill to walk into a bar and go, well, I'm up on that back bar next to some pretty amazing brands.
Absolutely. Did you find that when you trying to find something?
My retirement was actually quite unique, because I retired twice, if that makes any sense. But the first time was when my daughter got sick. When Mia got sick, I remember walking away from the game and did not think about it once. Your training habits, being back involved in it. The only thing you thought about, and I was crystal clear, I've never thought clearer in my life, is okay, I need to set up things outside of the game, just in case I never go back, and make sure my daughter was right. When the decision came back, decision to come back to play was like any other family going through what we were going through. Someone had to go back to work. It was just that my job had a profile, and at the start, I didn't know whether I had it in me. You know that little bit in your guts where you want to do all those little extra things, stand in front of the bowler, wake up in the morning and try to be great every day. I wasn't sure whether I could do that again. And then when I finally got back, I said got back to play. The second time I retired, I said, I'm done. And I was still fit. I could have played 2020 around the world. And it just went, I'm done. I'm content with everything I've done. They said, you're the same. Mate, I'm still fit. I could still do all the training. But I just didn't want to compete anymore. And from outside, where I was lucky is that we'd already set up businesses. So you weren't thinking about how you're going to feed your family, what was going to happen. It was about finding a passion again and actually being part of a team. That's the thing that really stimulated me.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Fox or Triple M.
Yeah.
But being part of a team, that's what I was looking for.
So fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Competitiveness is still there, I'm here to say. I can tell there's a little twitch that he's got that I see.
It's not there anymore.
It is.
It's been funny this week. I had Matt Pryor.
Oh, I was going to say, I was watching out of our window down. You were standing next to him in a broadcast, and I said to someone, I said, "Gee, I'd love to know what the conversation there is."
The funny one was Stephen Finn.
Oh, yeah.
Because in his first test at the Gabba, so he was bowling. They had Anderson and Broad were bowling, and I thought, I'm going to go at him here. I thought it was a bit soft character, and I went at him. Then he went and dobbed on me to everyone else. Then all of a sudden, I was walking out to bat after tea, and I said to Huss, and Huss doesn't like confrontation.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, Huss, you better wait back here." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "This game's about to kick off." And they all walked to me, blew up, and it was on. Pryor was there, Finn was sitting in the corner, and I'm going at Finn. Huss is going, "Oh, I haven't said anything. I haven't done anything." But they're the stories, and that's the role you play. The day you're retired, you talk about being competitive. No, nothing like you were when you play. I don't have that little bit in your guts that wants to stand in front of it, wants to get in a confrontation. Yeah, I'm so relaxed. I'll beat in tennis if we have a game, but I won't try to destroy your life while I'm doing it.
Okay. Did you, Gilly, because you had that reputation of being Mr. Nice Guy, did you ever have that spike that was well hidden, or different characters, different ways of going about it?
I didn't covet confrontation at all. Mr. Nice Guy. I was the equal most charged cricketer on the planet by the ICC match referees at one point. Myself, Shoaib Akhtar, there was one other. We had like 8 indiscretions where we'd been charged for different misdemeanors, but I think that was more me not being able to control my temper and letting out some sort of expletive or on an umpiring call or something, and then the moment, a bit like sledging, the moment the words left my mouth, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Like if I was batting, or more so keeping. If I was batting and a bowler said something and I said something back, or a fielder came in and had a crack and I said something back, I was nervous then because you can get out next ball and look the fool. But more so keeping, if I got riled up and started hopping into someone, if you drop a catch, okay, if I get out, you're embarrassed individually, but if you drop a catch, it is the worst feeling in cricket, dropping a catch, because you've let down the bowler, you let down every other teammate. But I didn't shy. If something happened, I didn't back away, but I didn't go looking for it like an old tack dog here.
Whoa. I was only ever fined once.
That's a miracle.
Once.
That's
a
so
miracle.
You're good at covering stuff up.
Oh, my goodness.
Mitchell Johnson was always worse. Once I got done with Suleiman Ben. It was the only time I got fined.
Yeah, and you admitted that, didn't you? Walk in and go, "Yep, I did it. Thanks very much."
I walked in, and I think it was Crowe, who was the match referee, and I said, "Give me the piece of paper." Had Steve Bernard there, had I don't think Punham was there. I just signed it, handed it back, and walked out. And I said, no, I did all that.
Yeah.
He goes, "I thought you were going to try to deny it." I said, "No, I didn't say that word, but it was very, very similar."
Yeah.
But if we go down the line and I get found guilty, it's going to cost me a lot more. I just walked out.
Yeah, before I could go through all 8 charges if you wanted to, but we won't. We won't. I just got to ask one more thing about batting, and funnily enough, this morning I caught it up again. Him coming out against India. Okay, they're 5 for 500, and he walks out, and Kohli's staring at him for 20 seconds.
There's a story to that,
and then he just smacks who the bowler was. Who was the bowler? I'm sure you remember.
One of the best in the world at the time. I think Mohammed Shemi or something. There's a story to that, though. I'd just come back. I probably shouldn't have played the first 2 tests. I had a dislocated shoulder, did it in the UAE. And our physio at the time put my shoulder in a position where I couldn't move it up, like a footballer where they can tackle. And they hit me a couple of times with the short ball, but I couldn't get my arms around. And I never had a shot problem with the short ball. And Kohli kept going at me, and I said to Boxing Day, said to the physio, "Tape's off." He said, "Your shoulder might come out." I said, "Well, my head might come off." I said, "I can't keep playing this way." Anyway, he went at me and I got him away. Then he kept coming at me in Sydney. He walked across to me. He wasn't saying anything. It was only for TV. And I noticed he had brand new shoes on. So I marked centre and I started kicking the dirt
His way.
on his shoes. And he was sort of shocked. And we're 5 for 500. And I thought, no, I'm making a statement. I'm either losing my stumps here or this is going out of the park. I was lucky enough to get hold of it. But I couldn't stop giggling. And what people don't know, right there, I booked a box for all my mates and family. So you can see it on the replay. As I hit it, they've jumped out of the chair. Alcohol's gone everywhere. My mates were right there.
How good.
Yeah.
But when you went to the crease,
Yeah.
did you find that if you didn't have a clear mind and just play your natural game, if you overthought it sometimes, that then
Yep.
got you in the straitjacket as opposed to...
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Junior used to be a wonderful ally for me at the top of the one-dayers order. Just would say, forget the scoreboard for the first 5 overs. Like, do not even think about it, because it's the moment I was premeditating, trying to, think, right, I've got to get, a couple of boundaries here or whatever. Yeah, I was cooked. Literally, it was clear the mind, watch the ball, trust. So that was, my best method. And then, if someone was coming in saying something, if I engaged with them, that's then taken away my ability to clear my mind, because I'm worried then about getting out.
Yeah.
So just trying to, completely have a clear mind and just play what's in front of you, as they say.
Favourite knock?
My favourite knock in my entire Australian career there's nothing sexy about this, it was 49 in the second test in Chennai in 2004.
49.
49. Yeah. In the second inning, we gave up a first innings deficit, and then in our second innings, so we were about 120 behind, I think, from memory. And we knew that wicket was going to get turned more and more into a dung heap as we went on, so we needed to get to parity as soon as possible and then start to build a lead into the fourth innings. So I was captain. I said, bugger it, I'm batting 3. And going to try and go in and just be positive. And as like what you said, Hads, try and change momentum of a game. So I went in there and was just like really positive, and got us up to parity, but then got out just before stumps. Ugh. And but that allowed us then the next day. Dizzy went in as night watchman, and the next day he batted for about 5 hours with Mardo. It ended up being a washed-out, drawn game on day 5. It was all set up. They needed 200. We needed 9 wickets on a day 5 pitch in Chennai, so it was game on, and it rained. But I felt like, for me personally, it made a statement that got the momentum going our way. Not that the others mightn't have got the runs, but that for me was my personal favourite.
Did you enjoy that time as captain? That's the last time we won in India.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that you captained that series.
No, that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, good.
To talk about, so people then go, you captained that.
Do you bring it up? Do you bring it up with Ricky Ponting?
well, he captained the 4th test and we lost it in 2 days. Jesus! But
Keepers
thankfully,
need more power.
We had that's right. We had the trophy by then. I was absolutely shitting bricks leading into it as captain, because I mentioned earlier in 2001 I was coming out of there with some bad demons. 100 first game, how easy is this? And then 0-0-1-1 in the next foot, and I was spooked.
0-0-1-1.
So I think, the
plus symbol.
That's right. Andrew Denton at the time, on Triple M, I believe, said you should get a sponsorship from Telstra for overseas dialing. But I think the captaincy took my mind away from any nervousness. It was all about team focus. That was a highlight of my career, from a team achievement point of view. That we were able to get that job done, and no one's done it since as a team. It's a challenging spot, as you know.
Hopefully in about 16 months' time, Australia can get it done over there. Gilly, we've run out of time. We're about to be kicked out of the room that we booked for this particular podcast, so really appreciate your time, and thanks for sharing some yarns with yourself and Hads. It was a pleasure to listen to.
Yeah, good stuff, and we'll find a way to the bottom of that bottle at some stage through this next short while.
Yeah, won't be difficult.
Keepers After Dark.
Now that's a podcast.
Yeah, thanks for watching the WillowTalk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.